Hey guys, this is going to be part one of the 100NL 888 Snap series. So we're going to play a few sessions, 30 minutes each, of 100NL on 888. So here we go. It's Friday evening. Looks like there's about 60 players online, which is quite a large player pool for this site and that stake. So we're going to go ahead and play two tables and see if we can get into some interesting spots. Alright, here we go. I got a note on this guy. You know, we are getting the odds to call now for $1.25, so I'm going to go ahead and call with my ace-3. And we completely whiff, and we'll be done with that. And the 4-3 on table 2 will be a fold. Now, on table 1, I'm just wondering if we could take a stab at this pot. I am going to lean towards taking a stab at the pot. We do have a 5. That would give us the win probably if we do get called, and they both fold. Now on table 2 with the ace-5, we're going to go ahead and raise in the cutoff. And on table 1, that's a fold. And we get 3-bet here. Now sometimes this is a play that sometimes I would call here, but for the fact that this guy is like completely short stacked, I just don't think there's enough value in calling. So I'm going to go ahead and fold. And here, I'm not a fan of just flatting. Most times I'm either going to 3-bet or I'm going to just fold. And I think with this particular hand, I'm going to go ahead and fold. And it sits me out. Okay, so in this table, I was considering calling here, but with the 3-bet from Ludeman, I'm going to go ahead and fold that. And the queen 10 in the cutoff, we're going to go ahead and raise. And here I am going to go ahead and raise as well with the queen jack offsuit. And we get 3-bet on table 2. Know nothing about this guy, don't have any notes on him. He's not full stack, so we're not going to give him credit for being a great player, but I'm just not going to get involved with that kind of hand in a 3-bet pot. With the 10-2, I'm just going to go ahead and muck it. And on table 2, we pick up second pair, and we got a gut shot. We also have a backdoor flush draw. This looks like a good flop to c-bet. Bet about 375. And with the 8-9 offsuit here on table 1, we will be defending if this guy raises. This guy's pretty aggressive. I actually have him labeled as a maniac, I believe. Yeah, we have him labeled as maniac. We have quite a few notes on the guy. I'm going to go ahead and call. Not a good board, but he's going to be firing a c-bet with nothing a lot, so we're going to go ahead and float here. That's actually not a bad turn card for us because we can represent a flush. And he fires out 6. I'm actually going to go ahead and raise him here. It's a little dangerous, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. I'm going to raise him to 19. We easily could have the flush here. And he calls. And we're going to fire out $32. And it gets through. So yeah, that gets through. And here, for a min raise, we're going to call. And we flop a gut shot. We also have a backdoor flush draw. So depending on what this guy bets, we're going to call. And I didn't realize it was multi-way. He has $54 behind. I believe that if we hit our flush, or sorry, if we hit our straight, we could potentially stack the guy. So I'm going to go ahead and call since it's only $3 into $6 pot. And we miss, and we'll be done with the pot if he bets again. And he bets just over half pot, so we're going to go ahead and let that go. And with the Queen Jack on table 2, or sorry, table 1, we're going to raise that up, and the 9-4, we're just going to let it go. Jack 9, we're going to let this go in that position as well. Trying to play somewhat tight, we're just trying to play, you know, aggressive, tight, whatever you want to call it, ABC poker, just trying to get our money in when we got good hands. With the 4 deuce, we're going to fold there, and the 5-8, we're going to fold as well. 6-5 under the gun, that's going to be a fold, and the 3-2, we're not even going to bother completing for 50 cents. Just not worth it with that hand. Pocket 9s on table 2. 10-5, we're not even going to defend. If it was suited, I would consider it, but even to a min raise, it's just not worth it. It's a hand just plays horribly after the flop. The king queen, we will be raising that. And this guy just limps. We're going to go ahead and raise it to 350. And we get 3-bet from this guy here. I have some notes on him. Alright. I think I'm actually just going to lay that down. I'm going to give him a bit of credit because we're obviously raising from early position. The fact that he's 3-betting just means it's more likely that he has a solid hand or strong hand there. So I'll give him credit. And here, not a great strong hand, but we have position, and it's suited. So we'll go ahead and raise that up. And the ace-4 here, just going to let it go. King 10, just going to let that go. The ace-deuce, you could open here, but I'm just going to let it go. Sometimes I'll open there, sometimes I won't. It just depends on my mood, I guess, or just how I'm deciding to play that day. I don't always play the same way. With the king 2 here, we're just going to fold on table 2, and here, this guy limps. He's a short stack, so we're going to assume that he's a fish. We'll give him that icon. Maybe he can prove us wrong later, but we're just going to fold 10-7. And the queen 4 on table 2, that's going to be a fold as well. 9-3, going to be a fold. And this is obviously a fold. We probably would have folded to the original raise, but with a 3-bet and a cold call here, it is a fold. And this guy, he's got a big stack, so we're going to give him credit for being a decent player. But I'm actually going to go ahead and 3-bet here to actually 675 seems like a good amount. And we take it down, so. And here with the pocket 4s, he raises it up to $3. We could 3-bet here, but there's on this side I find, especially in snap poker, we get called so often when we 3-bet. So this is not a good hand to get called with. So I'm just gonna go ahead and flat here. Hope we flop, you know, something good. Not the best board, and he checks. Could mean that he has just 2 overcards or something, so we'll check behind. If he checks again on the turn, we may take a stab at the pot. That's actually a decent card. We would prefer he doesn't fire. Now he's firing $2, which is pretty weak to me. He could be doing this with, say, something like King Queen or Ace Queen with a spade, so we're going to go ahead and call. And that's not a good river card for us at all. And he bets out $5, so we'll have to let it go. And on table 2, we know nothing about our opponent here. Jack 9 is a playable hand. I could 3-bet, but I am just going to go ahead and flat. And yeah, we're going to be done with this flop. or this hand more than likely, and he bets out about half pot, so we'll let it go. The Jack-10, it's an okay to hand to open. This guy's an aggressive guy, and so is this guy, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and fold in this position. And here, Maze Runner just limping in, we're going to go ahead and pop it up to $4. And if he calls, which he doesn't, there's going to be a lot of flops we can just take it away from him, because he's only going to hit the flop. I think it's like 1 out of 3 times or something like that. So it's easy money. Ebola VD, he's a pretty aggressive guy. We will be calling a raise, though. We may even, geez, why can't I get the notes up? We may even 3-bet him. What's the note we have on this guy? Okay. We're gonna fold the Jack 2s, or the Jack 2 there. And here, we're gonna go ahead and call. It's a little loose of a call, but I don't mind it. We flop second pair, and he checks. I don't think he's the type of player that checks the trap too often. He's more of like a just put the money in the pot when I've got a big hand. So I feel like he might have like maybe 10s, jacks, 9s, or maybe like a King X type hand. We're going to go ahead and check behind for pot control, though. Not a great card. He bets a 550, so we're going to go ahead and just muck it. It's likely that we're beat now. We have pocket queens on table 2, and we've got a min raise from under the gun and a couple guys just limping behind, or calling behind rather, so we're going to raise this up to $11. And if this guy has us beat, so be it. It's likely we have the best hand here. We actually wouldn't even mind a call. With the 10s on table 1, we're going to raise that up. And so we take down that little small pawn on table 2. And this guy, he's a short stack. We're going to be moving it in on most flops. And we get 3-bet from Maze Runner. The good news about getting 3-bet here is if we fold, we're probably going to get to see what he had. We're going to go ahead and fold. It's a little nitty fold, but I'm going to do it anyway. And he had ace-king, so we were flipping. And I would have flopped a set, so now I feel like an ass. But what are you going to do? Alright, table 1 we're going to fold. And we get 3-bet here, or 4-bet rather, and cold called from this guy. Oh man, I'm going to go ahead and fold this, I guess, as well. I'm trying to stay out of... Oh, look at that. Wow. I'm just making bad folds all over the place. The Queen Jack, we're going to go ahead and call. Aces versus Queen Jack. Yeah, so he had aces. So it was the correct fold pre-flop, but... Alright, here we're going to raise it up. And... here, we might just go for the check raise. This guy moves all in. And we're going to go ahead and bet 450. This guy moves all in, we can't call him. And we may have to fire in the river here. I'm not sure exactly why this guy just limped behind and didn't c-bet. Maybe he has a 9 or nothing. Evidently he had nothing because we folded. Alright, with the Jack 10 here, we're not going to be calling an under the gun raiser. 3.5x, I'm not sure exactly what that means from this guy. It could mean something like ace king or whatever, in which case if he has ace king we should be calling here, but we don't know, so I'm just going to fold. And with the Queen 5, we're just going to lay that down, and the King 2 we're going to lay down. $10-7. If I was on the button, I would consider calling here, even though it's not like a super strong hand, but it can flop well sometimes. But we're going to go ahead and fold. If I was in the big blind, I would consider calling there as well, but we have no money invested. We just had 50 cents, so not really worth it. And the ace-5, we're just going to fold. And the 5-6 on table 2 will fold. And wow, we get a walk with the ace-king. That's unfortunate. And the queen-2 we're not going to bother completing there. The jack-8. The queen-jack we're going to fold under the gun. And here we'll take a stab. We'll raise it up with position. And the king-4 will be a fold. Pocket 10s on table 2 will be a raise. We do get 3-bet from this guy quite a bit, so I will probably be sticking in a 4-bet if he raises, but he folds. And the queen 10 we will be raising it up if folded. This guy min raises us. I don't really give anyone a credit for a min raise from under the gun, so with position and the fact this guy's short stacked, I'm going to assume that he's not a very good player. So I feel like we might be able to take away a lot of flops from this guy. So we're going to go ahead and call. And he bets out 275. We could float here and see what he does on the turn. I think usually players are going to have small pairs here. I'm going to call and just see what he does on the turn. And he checks. We get lucky, but I was going to be betting pretty much any card that came on the turn if he checks. So I'm going to go ahead and check behind. Now he fires out 550. So maybe we save money by checking back in the turn, but we're going to have to go ahead and make the call. And he had nothing, so I think that by checking the turn, we allow him to bluff on the river if he has nothing like he did in that spot. So I feel like he more likely had like a small pair, but he was raising from early position with ace deuce offsuit, which is horrible. We have the queen 6 offsuit. We're going to be checking here. And now we're going to go ahead and bet it. We're going to go ahead and bet $1.50. And with the 10-8, we're going to go ahead and min raise on the button. And he calls us. We now have trip queens, so we're going to look to get some value. And we're going to go ahead and bet out $4. Hopefully he calls us with like a 9-10 or something. And on table 2, it's a flop that's not going to hit him very often. We're going to go ahead and bet out 275, and if he calls, we're going to be done with the hand. And on table 1 with the ace-queen offsuit, we'll raise from under the gun. It's a pretty strong hand. And table 2, that guy folded, it looks like. Rosenberg's a decent player. I have him labeled as a shark. I don't even know how many notes I have on this guy. Don't really have much notes on him. I just know he seems like he plays pretty solidly. And we'll take down the pot with the ace-queen. Now here's an interesting spot on table 2. Well, now it's very interesting with 3-bet. I think I have a little bit of history with Kinder 9, even though I don't have any notes on him. I feel like he's a decent, solid player. This guy, I don't know anything about him. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and lay it down. And on table 1, we're going to fold the king 10 under the gun. And he folds, so. Ace-jack. Let me see here. Alright, so this guy doesn't necessarily have to have a strong hand here to be raising. And with a raise and a call, we could consider calling here. And I think we will. And we flop the joint, which is great. So we'll check and see what these guys do. And he checks. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do here. You know what? I think I'm actually going to bet it. I'm going to bet 425. And it gets checked around, which is unfortunate. Looks like maybe no one has much of a hand, or maybe they have a super strong hand. But I have to go ahead and bet it. I have to try to build a pot. If we get raised here, we're going to be trying to get it in, but they all fold, so it's unfortunate. It always sucks when you flop the nuts and no one wants to play. Alright, so we're up at the 20-minute mark, so we have about 10 minutes left in this video. Like I said, it's going to be probably about a 2 or 3 part series, so this will be part 1. And on table 2, I am going to raise it up with the Queen Jack offsuit, and the Jack 10 we could raise here. And actually, I am going to raise it up here. And we get 3-bet from Mediocre Reg. So by his name, we're assuming that he is a regular. So he doesn't necessarily have to have a strong hand. We could 4-bet. But this is the first I've ever seen this guy, so I don't know exactly how he plays. I'm trying to play a little conservative this session. So I'm going to go ahead and fold. And 3-2, we're just going to fold it as well. And the Ace 10. It's a pretty hand. The King 8 on table 2, we're going to fold. And a raise from a short stack. I don't know anything about this guy, but we're going to call here. And under the gun, what is going on here? On table 2, Alex raises it to $8 pre-flop. Very strange. Alright, here we flop trips. There's no point raising here, because if he doesn't have an ace or pocket twos, we have his range crushed. And if he's got something like, 6s or 7s and we raise, he may fold. So we're just going to call. And if he has nothing, hopefully he keeps bluffing. Now he's betting half pot again. We're going to go ahead and call. On table 2, we will just call 50 cents. But this guy often is going to be isolating the limper, and he does. So we're going to fold. And here we're just going to call, like I said. If he shoves, it's going to be not great. We could find ourselves beat quite a bit. When he checks behind, there's no reason to believe that we don't have the best hand here. He fired the flop, fired the turn. I don't understand why he would get tricky now if he has this beat. So I'm going to go ahead and fire out $9. Wait, no. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and fire out $9. I don't think he has a huge hand, so. And he folds. And here, I'm actually going to play tricky. I'm just going to check. I feel like we're probably going to get called a lot from this guy. And if we don't flop well, it's going to be a tough spot. Now we flop a straight draw with the 3 and a backdoor flush draw. And I think I'm going to lead at this pot for about $1.50. And we get called. And on table 1, we're just going to let that go. Alright, so now we have top pair. No reason to slow down. But we do have to play this a little cautiously since there's a 4-2 straight out there. But he goes ahead and folds, so we'll take down that little small pot. Table 1, it's going to be a fold with the Queen 5, and also on table 2, going to fold the King 7. Table 1, we're going to fold. And like I said before, min raise usually doesn't necessarily mean strength, especially at this site and at this limit. I could 3-bet, and I may 3-bet actually. I think this would be a decent spot to 3-bet. And on table 1, we're going to go ahead and raise that up with the Ace-Jack. I am going to 3-bet to $6. I expect to get called quite a bit here from Gilo31, but he folds. And here, I'm actually just going to go check behind. This guy's a little bit of a tricky player. And we flop top pair on table 2, so we're going to go ahead and bet it. We're going to go ahead and fire out $6.75, and on table 1. We're going to go ahead and fire half pot. We're going to fire 312. And we get called on table 2. Jack 9 got there. Ace Jack got there. But I think we have to continue and fire again. Because the board's pretty scary. We have top 2 pair. We're going to go ahead and fire out 15. Oops. Put that in the chat by accident. $15. If he raises us, we may have to fold. But he folds, so it's likely that he didn't have too much. And on table 1, I'm just going to fold. Pocket Kings on table 2. We get a limp from Cave Boy 1970. And we're going to go ahead and raise it up to 450, make him pay. And he calls. No reason to believe that we don't have the best hand at this point, so we're going to go ahead and continuation bet. We're going to bet we're going to bet about $7. A little high, but this coordinated board somewhat. And he folds. Not going to be playing either one of those hands. So we got about 4 minutes left in this first video. Under the gun, it's going to be a fold. In pocket 4s, if this guy opens, we will definitely be calling with the 5s with the intention of set mining. Now that he folds, it looks like we have 2 fish and 1 guy here that I have a note on. I'll have to check on in a second. We're going to go ahead and open with our 5s. We get folds in 2 spots. If this guy shoves, I might have called. And he checks behind. I'm actually going to go ahead and check behind as well. And if he checks again, I'll probably lead. But it looks like he might be coming out firing. No, he checks. So I'm going to go ahead and fire out 325. We will have the best hand often enough. And he folds, so... Annette UK, she's actually, well, I don't know if it's a she, but she's pretty aggressive. But she just folds there. With the ace-king offsuit on table 1, and the 5-4 offsuit on table 2, we're just going to chuck it. You know, this session we're actually flopping pretty decently. Hopefully we don't get burned on this flop. We have top pair, you know. Best kicker. We're going to go ahead and fire out 425. But we're going to play this hand cautiously because it is pretty coordinated. But he goes ahead and folds. And we're going to be sitting out next big blind here. Wow, if I would have known I would have been sitting out that quick, I wouldn't have sat out. But anyways, so we're sat out at one table. And we're sat out on both tables. So we played for about 28.5 minutes. Let me see how much profit we made here. Looks like we made about $70, so not too bad for 30 minutes work. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up for part 1. So I will make part 2 basically right after this, but it will be released at a later date. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Take care.